217 Bassin here with you today. I'm in the garage again, talking about the difference between a spinning reel and a bait caster. When to use a spinning reel and when to use a bait caster. Both can be arsenals or tools in your arsenal for you to throw. So the spinning reel is usually the rod that people learn to fish on. It's a little bit easier to throw than a bait caster, I would say. Uh, so this is set up wacky rig style, but this is what a or a spinning reel looks like. So each rod, you have spinning reel rods and you have bait caster rods. So you got to make sure that if you're not buying a combo and you're buying a spinning reel and you're buying a rod as separate sales, that you got to make sure that you match your spinning reel with a spinning rod. So this is the setup. All right. To throw this, you would flip the bail here, like so, and hold with your finger and bring it back and throw it forward and let go with your finger when you want the line to release and your cast to go out. And then you would flip the reel down or the bail down and reel in. Okay. I use a spin casting rod when I am wacky rigging or when I am throwing a finesse bait, drop shotting when I'm throwing a very light lure that would be hard to throw on a bait caster, and if I'm going to fish for bluegill or crappie. So I use it for bass, wacky rig, drop shot, and I know people that use it with a Texas rig. I personally prefer a bait caster for that. So, but you can use this crappie or bluegill as well. And a bait caster, same thing. If you're not going to buy a combo and you're going to buy a bait caster, this is what a bait caster looks like, a little bit different. If you're going to buy a bait caster and you're not buying combo, you need to make sure that if you buy the reel and rod separate, that your rod is a bait cast rod and that your reel is a bait caster. So with the bait caster, I think you get a little bit better accuracy, and I think that you get a little bit better farther cast. So I use my bait casters the majority of the time, probably 80 to 90% of the time I will use a bait caster. If I'm Texas rig fishing, if I'm Carolina rig fishing, if I'm throwing a crankbait or a spinner, or if I'm jig fishing, pretty much I use a bait caster. I say about 90% of the time I use a bait caster. So bait casters come in left and right handed. So this is a right-handed bait caster. If you saw I'm a little bit different. A spinning reel, usually you can change it to left hand or right hand, whatever you prefer. When I throw my spinning reel, I like to reel with my left hand. Hold the rod in my right hand, reel with my left hand. When I'm throwing my bait caster, as you can see, my reel is on the right side. So I like to hold it in my left hand and reel with the right when I'm throwing my bait caster. So that's just kind of, I don't know if anyone else out there is like that, but that's the way I do it. So a bait caster, it has brakes on it, and you can set your settings. And what you want to do is, this is kind of like the big setting, and then you have a fine-tune setting right here where you can fine-tune it. And what you want to do is, this is your push button that you're going to press down to make a cast. What you want to do to tune that in is you'll just press it and you'll let that bait fall slowly. You want that bait to fall slowly to the ground. If it's falling too fast, you gotta mess with your tuning on your right side here to make sure that you get that going where it just falls nice and slow to the ground, and if it hits the ground, that it's not gonna backlash your reel. So bait casters take a little bit more practice to get them down. You got to kind of play with them a little bit. You got to get them tuned in right, and it's another great thing to have in your pocket for when you're fishing. If you only throw A spin caster, that might limit you into what you can catch. If you can throw both of them, a bait caster and a spin caster, that'll give you the opportunity to throw more rigs, throw more lures, throw more items, and ultimately catch more fish. So that, my friends, is the difference between a spin casting reel and rod versus a bait casting reel and rod. Both have their place when you're out bass fishing, and both are good tools to have. So this is 217 Bassin signing off. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And wishing everybody tight lines.